Saudi Aramco was set to be the biggest IPO, but leading up to its debut, there's been a lot of conflict and questions unanswered. So joining me to answer those questions is the Einstein of Wall Street to shed some Wednesday wisdom. Peter, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely, and I'm pleasure.
Okay, so Saudi Aramco, why are investors calling this a little sketchy?
You know what, look, so I got you some really good facts. So look, the IPO arrangers are indicating in private discussions they already have nearly enough orders to cover the institutional portion of the deal. All right, and they're looking to do it soon. Building early momentum is important in large equity offerings, as investors are encouraged to jump in when they see other institutions rushing to buy the shares. Where the problem lies is this: it was originally going to be a $1.5 trillion deal. It was going to be an international IPO, okay, that got changed up. The reasons we're seeing for that is the oil giant has delayed its IPO, originally scheduled for 2018, reportedly over Saudi concerns about public scrutiny over its finances and because of the complexity of its corporate structure. So, look, we've seen a rough year for IPOs in the United States. People have this belief that they judge other IPOs off of the way others were traded, right? We've had a rough year as far as the Lyfts and the Ubers and a number of other stocks that were big high flyers that didn't do well originally. Revenue models, not profitable models, and it often, as we've seen, even going back to Facebook, that it takes a while to figure these things out. Obviously, what threw, besides the fact that Saudi Arabia has been in the news this year for a lot of negative things, I think where this probably comes up with is, once again, is what we spoke about the other day as WeWork, right? So you've got Saudi Arabia, the royal family, the largest IPO in history, bigger than Alibaba, working on it for a couple of years. It's tied to a commodity as a kind of a big thing, and the oil production of Saudi Arabia. But what happened was they said that, as I just read, there are concerns about public scrutiny over their finances. Once this came closer, they realized that the only way to really pull this off was to do it locally. Where that left everybody was all of the investment. They had put together a team, as I'm reading. This is not my wheelhouse either, but I did it to really be able to give you a real true story, is that there were multi-levels of bankers, multi-levels of different roadshow people, and so it became super complicated. Once they decided to go local, they did not want to disappoint the people who were involved. There was momentum with investors worldwide. Once they decided to go local, everything changed. The big bankers in the U.S., the Morgan Stanleys and the Goldman Sachs, proved to lose their big commissions if it didn't go public in the U.S. So, you know what? I've laid out all the facts to you there. It is complicated. They are going to actually go public. Hopefully we get it here. Hopefully things pan out correctly after their local listing. Obviously, there's disappointment on the investment bank side in the U.S. because they are not going to be able to get the commissions they hope to do the banking. But as we lay out 2020, and if it goes well locally, I would think that they're going to continue to do it internationally.
So that's my follow-up question. So they're staying local, and we just found this out on Sunday. They made that decision. How could it come? What do you mean? How could it eventually become an international thing?
So I don't really know the facts about that but their claim is, I can read it to you, that their hope is, here, let's go. Reuters reported on Monday that the kingdom plans to list 1% of the Aramco on its local stock exchange before the end of this year and another 1% in 2020. When asked whether he would prefer to see Aramco listed in Tokyo, Japan, he replied, "We are ready to list wherever shareholders decide." Okay, so obviously once they list there, you're going to see the investment banks in the U.S. try and vie to get this thing done. If they get enough of an interest, I'm sure they will. They already have the interest internationally. It got kind of pulled back and there was a pause and consolidation on that. The interest is there. Let it go locally and see what happens.
Yeah, this has been an IPO that has had bloodshed, attacks. It is a very interesting story, Peter. So thank you for giving us those details today.
That's the best I can do. Obviously, there are things that I don't know about as far as the way how this is new ground, right? So we've not seen this happen before. I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment. I think people are going to really want to see it. They need something. They need a good, big, solid IPO. Maybe this is a better way to do it. Sometimes things happen for a reason.